Today's episode is going to be very technical, but if you can pay attention for the entire episode, you will be on your way to becoming an expert paddler. Guys, how about you just make a really strong cup of coffee instead of resorting to these extreme measures to stay awake for this episode. Today is going to be very technical. Today we're going to look at muscle activation, but I want you to bear in mind that muscle activates in conjunction with or in order to facilitate some sort of biomechanical movement. In the absence of muscle activation levels from a dragon boat paddler, we will look at muscle activation levels for a canoeist. We'll be looking at data from Sprint Canoe, but we must bear in mind how the muscle activation controls the movement of the top and bottom arms, and the top and bottom hand manipulate the paddle to move the boat in the water. Let's look at the strength of and the pattern and timing of the muscle activation between a skilled paddler and an unskilled paddler. The first thing you'll notice is that the skilled paddler, their top arm, the left pectorals activate very early in the catch phase, whereas the unskilled paddler, the left pectoral pretty much activates in the late stage of the drive phase. For the skilled paddler, the left pectorals are activating in the catch phase, whereas for the unskilled paddler, the left pectorals are acting in the late drive phase to help this type of movement with the top arm. The skilled paddler then recruits the anterior deltoid in two very small, precise bursts during the catch phase, compared to the unskilled paddler who recruits the anterior deltoid of the top arm from the catch right into the commencement of the drive phase and recruits them in very large amounts. The skilled paddler recruits the anterior deltoid very early in the catch in what appears to be either a movement to help move the top arm forward or to move the top arm slightly upwards. The next muscle in the sequence is the triceps of the top arm. For the skilled paddler, this occurs in two short bursts within the first 25% of the stroke, whereas the unskilled paddler, this occurs over a wide range of between 25 to 70% of the stroke, and it is a large burst of activation. Looking at the activation of the triceps in more detail, you can see that there are two distinct bursts of activation in the skilled paddler. We would associate this with as a triphasic activation burst, typical of ballistic or throwing type, well-coordinated movements. Video is going on for a bit long. Looks like everyone's all good. So the skilled paddler appears to activate the tricep as part of a chain of movements, pectorals, anterior deltoid, then tricep, as part of more of a throwing action to help with the catch, move the top part of the top handle as part of the catch, whereas the unskilled paddler appears to use the tricep quite a lot, much later, in what appears to be more of a push, and therefore seems to be more helping the drive part of the stroke. Overall, the muscle activation pattern of the skilled paddler is consistent with that of a dragon boat paddler as per the data from Ho 2009, which shows that the skilled paddler has a much better catch compared to the unskilled paddler. The skilled paddler is able to work 5 times greater at increasing boat speed very early in their stroke. Now looking at the muscle activation of the bottom arm, the unskilled paddler uses far more latissimus dorsi very late in the stroke, compared to the skilled paddler who uses very little latissimus dorsi midway through the stroke. The skilled paddler appears to use biceps shortly after the catch through midway through the drive stroke, but very little activation of the biceps, compared to the unskilled paddler who uses biceps a lot earlier during the catch phase and much later during the drive phase as well. During the early drive phase, the skilled paddler recruits posterior deltoid, whereas the unskilled paddler recruits posterior deltoid during the mid-catch phase and during the mid to late drive phase. And last but not least, the triceps of the bottom arm. The skilled paddler appears to recruit this during the early drive phase as they commence the drive stroke, whereas the unskilled paddler appears to recruit the triceps during the, early catch, early drive, and all throughout the drive phase, and in large amounts as well. So it appears the skilled paddler recruits the muscles for the bottom arm, specifically latissimus dorsi, biceps, posterior deltoid, very early in the drive phase, almost as if it starts in the catch phase. And they appear to recruit these muscles in a sequence that suggests that they are, in fact, throwing water backwards. In summary, the expert paddler uses their muscles in well-coordinated, well-timed, precise bursts of activation, compared to the unskilled paddler who uses uncoordinated, overstrenuous muscle activation, very fatiguing. This exercise is designed to enhance motor control, muscle patterning movements. It's ballistic in nature. Power is transferred from the leg through the hips, through the lower back, into the shoulders, and then into the arms. It is supposed to teach you how to coordinate your muscles effectively, how to activate them precisely. From this, the goal of your training should be to encourage precise, well-coordinated, sequenced activation of muscles. This exercise is more for the top arm. It is designed to be coupled with bottom arm activation as well. It's ballistic in nature. Power is transferred from the trunk through the shoulder into the arms, and the top hand moves the paddle. And this on-water training drill appears to be the perfect way to enhance the ballistic nature of the top arm and the ballistic drive of the bottom arm to become an expert paddler.